What if I told you the Celtics are flirting with the biggest trap in modern NBA history and they still have time to walk away? The rumor mill is heating up, and somewhere in the fog, the name Ben Simmons keeps popping up next to the Boston Celtics. That alone should set off alarms. Not just red flags, fire alarms. Evacuation orders? Do not enter tape? Because when you step into the Ben Simmons business, you don't just risk failure. You invite chaos into your house and hand it the keys. The Celtics aren't just a championship contender. They're in a delicate moment of transition. Tatum is rehabbing, the veteran core has thinned out, and every young piece is about to be tested under playoff expectations. This is a team balancing on the edge of legacy building and recalibration. So why on earth would you throw Ben Simmons into that mix? He is, without question, one of the most fascinating what-ifs in recent basketball memory. On paper, Simmons is a unicorn, a 6'10" point forward who can defend 5 positions, rebound in traffic, and whip cross-court passes with either hand. In theory, he could be your switch-heavy defensive anchor, your secondary playmaker, your mismatch nightmare. But in practice, Simmons is a cautionary tale, not a missing piece. He's played in just 57 games over the last 3 seasons. Not because of catastrophic injuries, but because of something more dangerous: availability you can't predict and engagement you can't depend on. If Simmons is on your roster, you're not just betting on his body, you're gambling on his mindset, his motivation, his willingness to compete, and that bet has never paid off. He was a statistical marvel in college and still managed to drag LSU out of NCAA tournament contention. He was the no one pick in a draft the Celtics narrowly avoided winning, a twist of fate that saved Boston from years of dysfunction. The Sixers paid him nearly $80 million to be the face of the process, and in return they got playoff collapses, ghosting the team during training camp, and a complete refusal to shoot the ball in crunch time. His next stop, Brooklyn, a franchise that has spent the last decade failing upward. They paid Simmons $123 million, and in return, he gave them 0 playoff wins, 589 total points, and enough organizational headaches to make them envy the tanking Pistons. Do the math. Brooklyn paid $211,000 for every point Simmons scored in a Nets jersey. The Clippers gave it a shot, to a franchise that turned buyout castoffs into meaningful contributors like Russell Westbrook and Reggie Jackson. Couldn't even get Simmons to stay healthy long enough to evaluate. It was over before it began, and now he's reportedly on the radar in Boston. Why? Because someone always believes they will be the exception, that their culture, their system, their coach will be the one to reach Simmons. But this isn't about unlocking untapped potential anymore. This is about recognizing a pattern. Simmons doesn't adapt, he implodes. He doesn't elevate, he evaporates. The Celtics should not just avoid signing him, they should pray that a rival does. Let the Knicks roll those dice. Let Miami take that swing. Let Simmons become someone else's problem, someone else's regret, someone else's reminder of what happens when you ignore the data and chase the mirage. Boston is too close to something special, too disciplined, too smart. The margin for error in a championship run is razor thin. You don't survive it by adding variables. You survive it by eliminating liabilities. And right now, there is no bigger liability in the NBA than Ben Simmons. Let history repeat itself, just not in green. Truths from Celtics Summer League that nobody's talking about. The Summer League is supposed to be the calm after the storm, a quiet chapter between free agency chaos and the return of training camp. But this year, what the Boston Celtics revealed in Vegas shouldn't be ignored. Beneath the surface of a 4-1 record lies a series of performances, patterns, and question marks that could shake the foundation of how this team is built heading into 2025, and the strangest part, almost nobody is talking about what it really means. Let's start with Hugo Gonzalez. On paper, he was a mystery pick at 28th overall. Off paper, he was something more volatile. The 19-year-old barely touched the court for Real Madrid, but in Vegas, he flashed raw intensity, emotional volatility, and moments of chaos that felt unscripted. He shot just 30.4% from 3 and openly berated himself in Spanish after missed plays. You could say he's just young and raw, but the Celtics don't have time for long-term projects who disappear under bright lights. They need him to grow up fast. Jordan Walsh, on the other hand, is no rookie anymore. He went into Vegas calling himself the vet, but what he showed was more than experience. He was angry, he was loud, he was on a mission. Getting ejected against the Heat wasn't a sign of recklessness, it was a signal. Walsh is done waiting. He averaged 15, and shot nearly 39% from deep, but that's not what matters. What matters is he looked like a man trying to claw his way into the regular season rotation, and maybe even someone who could shake it up entirely. Now, here's where things get messy. Baylor Shireman came in with expectations: size, shooting, vision. On paper, he was a late first-round steal, but in Vegas, the slump hit like a thunderclap. He shot a terrifying 27.4% from the field and just 20.5% from three. Yet somehow, he averaged nearly 7 assists per game, proving his court vision is real. So here's the problem. Can the Celtics afford to bet on a guy whose value swings violently between elite passer and offensive liability? In a world where spacing is life or death, that's a terrifying question. Then there's Amari Williams and Max Shulga, both 23, both older rookies, both expected to sign two-way deals. But don't let the contracts fool you. Williams looked ready. He rebounded, passed, and owned the paint during Boston's beatdown of the Hawks. With the front court in flux after Porzingis and Holiday were shipped out, Williams might not just be a developmental piece, he could be an emergency parachute. Shulga, meanwhile, struggled to score, but flashed a 6-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That's not sexy, but it's surgical, and in a high-turnover league, that has value the box score won't show. But nothing sent a louder warning shot than the appearance of Charles Bassey. Just 24 years old, with real NBA mileage and a body built for playoff bruises. Bassey stepped into Summer League like a man among boys. He averaged 15.3 points and 11 boards in 3 games, bullying everyone in his path. It wasn't just dominance, it was clarity. If the Celtics don't keep him, another team will. Boston's thin frontcourt might not survive the regret. Other names flickered in and out. Miles Norris didn't hit shots, showed flashes of twitchy athleticism. Kenneth Lofton Jr. reminded people why he's still one of the most uniquely skilled undersized bigs in the game. And Jalen Bridges, the overlooked wing from Phoenix, did enough to stick around. Here's the twist most fans missed. Summer League wasn't just about evaluating rookies, it was about testing the emergency gear. Celtics made seismic moves this offseason that left holes across the depth chart. Vegas wasn't a vacation, it was a stress test. The front office isn't just looking for bench guys. They're searching for insurance policies that can survive the crash. The Celtics might have left Vegas with 4 wins, but what they really took home were 6 warnings. Some encouraging, some unsettling, all important. If you think Summer League doesn't matter, you haven't been paying attention. What if the Celtics' next move isn't just big, but unthinkable? Behind closed doors, the front office is juggling more than just tax concerns. According to multiple insiders, there's growing traction behind a shocking 3-team trade scenario that would send Jaylen Brown, yes, the Finals MVP, runner-up packing to a Western Conference powerhouse. That's not a rumor you casually scroll past, because this isn't about whether Brown is loved in Boston. It's about how far the Celtics are willing to go to reshape the next decade. And if you think his supermax guarantees stability, think again. Brown's contract is massive, his value is peaking, and timing, in Boston's case, might be everything. But that's just the beginning. Another major development is flying under the radar. The Celtics have been quietly circling a former #1 overall pick, a free agent many left for dead after years of inconsistency. What most don't realize is this all-star remains one of the most versatile defensive players in the league. He thrives in switch-heavy schemes, he disrupts pick-and-rolls, and his offensive flashes could be revitalized in a Celtic system built around unselfish movement and spacing. The Celtics don't just see a gamble, they see a resurrection. Then there's Derrick White, the extension talks. The Team USA praise. The rising stardom it all seemed like a lock. But sources say Boston explored moving him for multiple picks. Why? Because when you're trying to win titles and balance the books, no one is off limits. Not even your most trusted two-way guard. That doesn't mean the Celtics are planning to break the core. It means they're actively testing the market for value, preparing for the next monster swing. The kind of move that makes your competition panic. Fans are asking what the Celtics are doing. The better question is this: what do they already know that we don't?